on, everybody? This is Pastor Shay, aka Chaplain G, coming back at y'all with another word of encouragement for today. So, one of the stories that I like, I kind of like the story of Gideon in the Bible. If you guys have never read it, he was one of the judges of Israel, and what the Bible means by judges in this context is someone who would come along and it was God's instrument that he would use to bring judgment on other nations for the sake of Israel, right? And so the whole book of Judges is, man, it's bloody. It reads like the craziest Jason Bourne movie, or what's the one with John Wick? The book of Judges is like a John Wick movie, man. It's crazy. It's crazy the stuff that happens in there, right? But Gideon is this dude that I relate to sometimes, because sometimes we walk through life and we know that there's changes that need to be made. We know that things aren't the way they're supposed to be. We just don't feel equipped to be the person to make those changes, right? Maybe we feel like we don't have the skill set. Maybe we feel like we got our own junk that we need to deal with before we talk about somebody else's. Maybe sometimes we're just scared to be the one that sticks their neck out to make some kind of change, right? And Gideon was that kind of dude. Gideon was that dude. Like, he saw the stuff that was going on in Israel. He saw the devastation that the Midianites, they were one of the opponents of the Jews at that time. He saw what they were doing to the people, and he was like, I know stuff needs to be done, but I'm too scared to do it. I don't want to be the one to stick my neck out. You know what I mean? And so over the weekend, went to the retreat like I was telling you all about, and this was one of the stories that came up in my mind as we were going through it, because Gideon was a guy, like, I think he really, his life has a lot to say. And yes, we can go to the end of Gideon's story and see how, like, he conquered and everything else, but I think it's more helpful to see Gideon, like, as the man that was scared to act in the way that God wanted him to. So I'm going to read you a short section of the story of Gideon, and I want to talk to it a little bit. So Gideon, God sees Gideon. He's like a farmer kind of guy, and he's going through some of his wheat, right? And back then, like, you would do the like you'd have the kernels of wheat, and you'd have to separate the chaff from the wheat, like, to get down to the seed, right? You didn't want the chaff, you wanted the seed. And so they would have like a threshing floor where they would thresh the kernels around, and they would try to separate the kernel from the chaff. And usually you did that out in the open so the wind could catch it and blow the chaff away. But we see Gideon, when he opens up this episode, Gideon is hiding inside of a wine press. Like, it was like a pit where they would throw grapes inside and they would mash them and stuff like that. Instead of him being out in the open doing his job, he's hiding down in this pit trying to do this thing, right? And so the angel of the Lord sees him, and I'm going to pick it up in verse 12. It says, "And the angel of the Lord appeared to him and said to him, 'The Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor.'" Right? So the angel got jokes. "And Gideon said to him, 'Please, sir, if the Lord is with us, why then has all this happened to us? And where are all his wonderful deeds that our fathers recounted to us, saying, Did not the Lord bring us up from Egypt? But now the Lord has forgotten us and given us into the hand of Midian.' And the Lord turned to him and said, 'Go in this might of yours and save Israel from the hand of Midian. Did not I send you?' And he said to him, 'Please, Lord, how can I save Israel? Behold, my clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house.' And the Lord said to him," and this is the part where I want to pick up a little bit, "But I will be with you, and you shall strike the Midianites as one man." So there's a lot of times when God God doesn't want to receive something back from us that he's given us to do. Let me say that again. If God has given us something to do, he's not asking for us to give it back to him for him to do for us. God says to him, like, I am sending you to go do this. I know you're scared. I got jokes, and I'm calling you a mighty man of valor, right? He's like, I'm not forsaking you. I'm here now, and I'm sending you. I do have a plan for how I'm going to rescue my people, and you're it. Yo, sometimes when we see things in life, God is the one that's calling us to make the change. God is calling us to make a stand. He's calling for us to say something in our wisdom, in our knowledge, in the courage that maybe we don't even have, but God can provide it. He's just asking us to be a participant. So as you're going through life, right? Like maybe you know something's going on at work. Maybe you have an idea of how things can function better. Maybe you're at home and you have a spouse that's just being a jerk, and you're like, I don't know how to approach this situation. I don't know how to speak into what I feel like God is calling me to do. And I wish that God would send someone to help me through this. And the great news is God has sent someone to help you through it. Jesus, when he dies, right, and resurrects as he's getting ready to go back up into heaven, he says, I got to go because someone else is going to come after me that's going to it's going to help you do greater works than all the stuff you saw me do. That helper is God himself in the Spirit. And so now the Spirit of God dwells within his people and empowers them to do the very things that he's asking them to do. You're right. You probably don't have it in you. You probably don't have the right words to say. If it were up to you, you'd probably curse out everybody and then storm off in a rage and then regret your decision later, right? But God says, like, when you go, I'll be with you. And for Gideon, he said, that large army that you're getting ready to go up against, it's going to be so miraculous. You're just going to swipe them through as if it was just one person. Like, it's going to be effortless for you. And I think the things we build up sometimes, like we're like, man, this is just too big for me. God is saying, I know it's too big for you. I want you to invite me to go with you, because I'm going to be with you when you go. So, man, I feel like that should be an encouraging word for somebody. It's an encouraging word for me, man, to keep pressing, because if God, the creator of all things, says, I will be with you when you go, man, there's nothing we can't do, man. So, hopefully that's an encouraging word for you, man. Please make sure to share it. If you can think of somebody that might need to hear that today, man, share it with them. Drop a like before you go. That'll help out a lot. And, man, if you need me, hit me up. My email is down in the description. If you need me to pray for you, because I'm constantly praying for y'all, yo, hit me up. I'd love to pray for you. And I love y'all. Until next time, grace and peace.